Hello, I'm Denise Hill. I love sharing stories of my experiences with celebrities, politicians, some of your favorite musicians and artists, but most importantly, I love sharing the stories of everyday people. Their lives serve as opportunities to inspire, empower, and educate. It is my honor to share the stories of those who fought the fight against breast cancer and won. The So Alive Project is all about sharing the stories of survivors and caregivers. Whether you are in the fight, a survivor yourself, supporting someone who is in the fight, or just want to be informed, my hope is that this story will bless you. Please make sure you subscribe to this page or set your notifications on all social media so you don't miss one. I am at The Denise Hill. One of these stories just might change your life. I'm Denise Hill, and this is the So Alive Project. I'm here with Miss Michelle Wyatt-Temoney. How are you?
I'm great.
Listen, I appreciate you so much for your time and for sharing your story so that your story can be an inspiration and a light to others. I'm sure it is within your circle, but the world needs to hear about what Miss Michelle experienced and the lessons she learned from it.
I'm a 10-year breast cancer survivor, so been in the game for a little while now. And
I love it. I love you just saying been in the game. I love it.
Right. I'm a little seasoned, so that's one of the terms we actually use when we do different events. We are considered seasoned because I've been in over 5 years. So I was diagnosed at the age of 41. My mammogram is what actually caught the breast tumor. So it was my second mammogram in my life. I did my first one at 40. And then at the age of 41, my life completely changed. They found the tumor, and after that, it was just like a blur because they move you so fast through the process. You get diagnosed, and then you get to speak to the oncologist. They will talk over your plan. And for me, I really threw myself into everything because I'm a nurse. So, it's hard to turn off my medical sense. So I was, looking at my results before the doctor could even talk to me. I read every pamphlet, every post, search, everything. I did everything. So when I actually went in to see the oncologist for the first time, I took a recorder and I took my sister-in-law, and my oncologist was amazed. She was using terms. I knew exactly what was going on. And she was like, you know what, you're going to do fine through this. So I really walked into it being really strong. I had a great support system from my family and my friends. And I just, breezed on through it. I did chemo 8 rounds. I did 35 treatments of radiation. And my particular cancer, if you're 45 and under, the breast cancers are much more dangerous, and they really do try to hurry up and get you through the process of getting treatment as soon as possible because they're deadlier and they usually grow and metastasize quicker. So due to the one I had, it was called HER2 positive. And with HER2 positive, you have to get a specific treatment for 1 whole year. So that really threw me for a loop because I thought after the 8 rounds of chemo and the radiation that I would be fine. But that whole year of the Herceptin, was just made everything drag out and everything. But I got through everything. And the only thing that snagged me was during the process of me getting the chemo, I was trying to, hurry up and get back to work and be normal again, trying to seize my normal life. And I rushed back to work, and we had this huge snowstorm in 2010. And I fell down. And didn't think any of it, got up, wouldn't change my clothes, went to work. So after a few days, I started having a severe pain. And what I found out 5 days later is I walked around bleeding internally, had no idea that this was going on because I had a history of back problems. So I thought it was just a flare from me falling. And what happened was when I first started chemo, they recognized that I had a blood clotting disorder. So they put me on Coumadin, which is a blood thinner. So when I fell, I had bled in places and had no idea. So finally, when the pain got so excruciating, by that Tuesday, I was unable to go back to work. So I finally went into Kaiser's where I was getting my doctors and oncology and all my different resources. And I went in to be seen. And what ended up happening was I had like a hematoma, which is comparable to like a balloon, if you do a water balloon. And the bleed was so fast and it got big that it fell down in my left leg, which is has your femoral nerve, which actually allows us to move our leg around. And what ended up happening was I lost complete control of my left leg. I did not think that I would ever walk again. And it took me a year and a half to walk again. And I'm telling you, when God wants to shut you down and make you see something that he wants you to see, he will shut you down. And he came to me and said, you just need to let me take over. I got you. Let me do this. And you just sit back and ride with me. And that's exactly what I did. And to this day now, which this was 9 years ago when I had the injury, I am walking. You know, I still take a lot of medications and everything, but I'm here. I'm healthy. I've been breast cancer free for 10 years. My faith is what got me through this and believing in a higher power, because what I went through, I would have never prepared myself to have this additional injury. And I knew that I had a bigger faith and a bigger, you know, God that was going to get me through. And that's what happened, you know. So now I just spend time, you know, going around with different organizations, talking to women. And God told me that you have a presence. You are a nurse, you're a communicator, and that's what I need you to do for me. I need you to go out here and be the strength for the women who don't have your strength. And you get out here and you teach these women and you make them realize that you would not be here had it not been for your mammogram. Get your mammograms, you know, do the monthly checks that women always say we're going to do that we normally don't do when we're taking a shower. You know, you have to know your body, because if you don't know your body, you would never know when something's wrong with your body. So, you know, that's one of the biggest things that I speak out to other women, and it's really just been a major blessing for me. And although I've had, you know, the traumatic injury, you know, and I will probably never be 100% back at full capacity with my leg, but, you know, I'm healthy, I'm living life, I'm speaking, you know, God's truth through breast cancer. And, you know, if I had to do all over again, I definitely would, because it has made me such a better person, a stronger person, you know, a better, you know, mother, a better grandmother now, you know. So I just really just had to bow down to my faith. That's what got me through.
Woo-wee! That's a powerful testimony. I didn't even want to break in there. I just want you to get it all out. That was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I celebrate you and appreciate you for using this platform, which is just one of many to come your way to spread the message. I want to unpack that a little bit. That was definitely inspirational and motivational. I want to get into some educational, because there's some people who could be at the beginning of this process, perhaps are a caregiver for another one, perhaps, you know, they've never experienced anything like this, but we have no clue what the future holds. So I want to kind of unpack a little bit so that those who need the information will have it in front of them. If we can back up just a bit, you went from 1 year having a mammogram that was completely clean to the next year having a mammogram that showed a tumor in one year. How can I know they like to stage things? What stage did they say it was?
Right. From that 1 year, and when I got diagnosed, I was at stage 2A, and the alphabet means that your lymph system, which is in the axillary or underneath your arm, the lymph system is another way that they will check you to see if the cancer is actually leaving the breast. So by me being a stage 2A, that meant that when they went underneath to get my lymph nodes, they found 11 of them. Well, they took 11 out, and out of the 11, 2 of them were already positive for cancer, which means it was leaving my breast, trying to go out into the rest of my body.
So in 1 year, not only did it grow, do you think they missed it that first year, or was it just that fast growing?
It was just that fast growing, and that's why I emphasize when you're at the age of 45 or under, those are the deadlier cancers. And it is just this cancer, like mass production, it produces, it's so rapid. And that shows you with that 1 year, I went from nothing to 2A in just a year's time.
Wow. You also mentioned that you brought a recorder with you to your doctor's appointments. I've heard from other survivors that the information overload is just so extreme. And with you having a medical background, other than bringing a recorder in, what else could you advise people to do when they go into their appointments?
I would definitely, if you can have two resources, like use a recorder or take someone with you, because there's so much information you get with that first visit that, especially if you're overwhelmed. So many women walk into that office not knowing, what to expect. Some of them are broken. Some of them can't believe that they're going into, something that has always been such a taboo subject matter for, people. So I say do your research if you can, reach out into your community. They have so many different resources out here. So, you just got to have a backup plan so that you make sure that you don't miss vital information in the treatment plan that they have, before you.
And for your medication, you mentioned Herceptin.
Yes.
I've heard that a lot. I'm not going to dare tiptoe into pharmaceuticals. I don't know anything about that. But I do know there are several holistic protocols that people have been considering and discussing. Have you noticed anything, or have you utilized anything holistically to help kind of, one, encourage you and keep you motivated in the midst of all of this? I know you talked about your faith, but also just to kind of naturally give you more energy, naturally flesh out your system, anything that you know of as a nurse or even as a survivor?
Right. Well, I didn't go into a holistic plan. I definitely have come across women who have, and from those women, the knowledge that I gained was definitely, the things that we always hear, always drink plenty of water, exercise, try to eat better, eat balanced meals. You want to just do everything to strengthen your body, because the chemo is going to pull everything out of you. So you just want to try to eat. And even when you go into the chemo, some people aren't even able to eat. So it's really important to just, try to, drink the water, eat well, exercise. So just the same things that we have heard all our lives.
That's funny that you would say that. The same things we hear all of our lives, we don't really want to take into account until like we're in a situation where we have to. And then by then, like you said, some people can't even eat. We take it for granted for so long, and then it's not available to us, or it's difficult or challenging for us to even try to do. A word in terms of preventative medicine, what would you say?
With preventative medications, the one thing that I have learned from this, I wouldn't say that there's always a preventative medication or anything like that, but I have definitely gained the knowledge that the best prevention is to do your mammograms, to really just get to know your breast, get to know your body, because 9 times out of 10, there is a tumor. The tumor will grow at different rates. So many times, most people find their own lumps. I have heard that millions of times. So you just have to get in there, soak those fingers up and go around that breast, go around your collarbone and just see if you feel anything abnormal, because so many people don't know what abnormal is. So you just have to get to know your body better.
Man, so your support system, you mentioned you're a mother and now a grandmother. Can you talk a bit about your support system and the value that they brought to you?
My support system was amazing. I'm a very people-y person. So when I was walking into this journey, I thought, what can I do to make things be better for myself as well as my support team so that we can all be strong together? So I came up with a pink party. I was like, wow, pink party. I like that. Pink is the color I'm getting ready to walk into. I want to do a games. I want to have fellowship. I want to, to become educated. So I got a few people, and that's just what I did. I invited everyone who was important to me. I have other, friends who were nurses or therapists or had, outreach. And we did games, and everything. The games were surrounding about getting education. I had one of my girlfriends bring an actual lumped breast that they use in different facilities. And I passed it around to the women so that they could try to see if they could feel where the lump was in it. So we just sat there, we laughed, we cried together, and it just made me so strong. I mean, people came together, they cooked for my family, They took the kids where they needed to go. I mean, I was really overwhelmed. I had no idea that I was that important until that came into my life because everyone just rallied around me.
You didn't know you were that important, sis.
Not in the, the fact you don't really realize how much you're loved and how much people really do adore you. Sometimes we don't get to know that until we're in a casket. We don't know we get to know that because all we know about is the spirit is present. But, you just don't think about it. You just don't think that you're that important as far as, people love you and that they'll come and do anything for you. So that's what I mean.
Yeah, I get it. Definitely. Wow. You said you're a mom and now a grandmother. Has this experience changed how you communicate with your children and grandchildren?
It does. I'm very honest with the kids about everything. So each time I've had a mammogram or if there was anything that looked suspicious, I was very upfront with them. And that's how I addressed it with my kids because I had two sons and they were both in high school at that time. One had just began high school and one was in his second year of high school. And what was so funny is like at that time, my husband and I were like, how do we tell the kids this? And I said, well, I just want to be upfront with them. And what I did is I sat them down and I said, look, we're getting ready to go through something, and I'm going to look really, really scary. And I know that it's going to probably freak you out, and you're going to probably say, oh, my goodness, what's going on with Mom? I said, but what I want you to understand is when I may be looking my weakest, my palest, and I'm looking like I may not even be here long, that means that this chemo is kicking cancer's butt, and that we're getting it out of there. So I don't ever want you to be afraid. Know that this is working for me. And when I did that, they totally got it, And I found that me being so candid with them, they began to talk to everybody around them, their teachers, their coaches, their friends. I mean, everybody rallied around us as a family. So it was really amazing.
That was going to be my question. Like, did they have experiences where, they brought a date home and it was like, nice to meet you. Hey, let me talk to you about your breast.
That is very true because their friends would come in and sit in the bed with me and, bringing gifts and, we would talk about things and they'd be like, well, Mom, can I see what they did? And, so I was very candid. I think that's the nurse in me that I don't have a problem with sharing when it comes to medical things. So I guess I chose the right profession to have gone through this. So it was really funny how some of it, how I just would flip it out any minute. Hey, you want to see? Oh, yeah, this is what they did. Oh, this is where they cut, so it was funny.
It's something about being open and candid like that, it takes the power back and you don't feel like a victim. And, it's when things are in the dark, they just fester and can really torment you. Even though you were quite candid, I'm assuming that there had to be some dark moments and some challenging times mentally where you had to kind of talk yourself back into being the victor. Talk to me about some of those moments and how you pulled yourself out.
Well, I did definitely suffer from depression. I just would have moments and days where I just didn't want to be bothered, didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to lay in the bed and just melt through the sheets. That's how I felt. But one of the great things is my oncologist made it very clear to me that whatever symptoms I had, if I wanted her to address them and we, get medication for it, she was like, whatever happens, I have you. I got you. I'll make sure that, we have something to make you feel better. So that definitely made me feel more comfortable. So I did take an antidepressant and stuff. And the darkest point definitely was when my leg was injured because there was a moment, where I just totally wanted to give up. And I was like, well, God, I got you. I understand what you said to me. Why are you shutting me down? Why am I, I need my leg back. Like, what are you doing? So, I did go through some angriness and I was depressed and everything. And luckily I had a husband that was very supportive. And when I would, do the exercises that they wanted me to do, I would be ready to give up when I was at, number 6 or number 7 because I was in so much pain, and he would say, no, we got to do this. Come on, I'm going to do it with you. So, God put that in him to, be there for me and to push me even when I wanted to shut the whole world out, So I knew at some point that God had done this for a reason and that I just had to stay faithful and believe that he was going to get me through it, which he did, so I did get through it.
Wow. And if he did it for you, he can do it for someone else. What an inspiration.
Absolutely. Yes.
Any last words you want to share
Well, I just want women to know, especially in the African American community, in our race, that we are definitely have the highest rate of fatality in the country. So, sisters, we have to get together. We have to support one another. We have to push one another. We have to do buddy checkups. Take somebody with you if they're afraid. Go do it together. Get a group of women together and go do those mammograms together. It's so important. It's so important that you have to, get out here, get those mammograms, because I'm telling you, it saved my life and it's saving many lives out here. And early detection, is what will keep you here and keep you living and live on to tell your journey or your story to others.
Michelle Wyatt-Temoney, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much.
My hope is that this story has helped to educate you, empower you, and encourage you. We offer all the love and support we can for those who are in the darkest of moments, and we celebrate that we're so alive for those who have been victorious and survived the great challenge they call breast cancer. Most importantly, I honor the legacies of those who are at rest from the fight. I appreciate each and every person for their willingness to share their story, and I look forward to bringing you more. Make sure to follow me on social media. I am the Denise Hill. You stay blessed.